Coach with Lifetime Shred, and today I'm going to do my 1-year review on the Slingshot Space Mob minings. So let's get into it. Alright, so we're talking about the 2022 Slingshot Space Mob wakeboard bindings. So I got these in the spring of 2022, and I'd say I have about 25 days on them at this point. Typically I take about 20 days of cable a season. Wish I could ride more, but there really aren't any cable parks super close to me, the only exception being a Monty Wake Zone, but even that one is a 4-hour drive away. So let's get into the bindings themselves and some of my thoughts about them. So overall, love these bindings. I think they ride really well. I came off the Hyperlite System previous to this. I had a couple different boots with the low backs there, and I did make a video with my initial thoughts about these bindings compared to those Hyperlite Systems last year. I'll link that in the description below. But getting into these bindings specifically, I'm not planning on going back to the Hyperlite System. I'm going to keep riding these, hoping to get this season out of these and maybe one more season after that, depending how often I get to ride. So let's talk about what I thought was good, what could be better, and also some mods. So getting into the bindings themselves, I really like the gummy strap setup. I like that you don't have to use the tongue. That was the way I like to ride it, just for a little extra flex, but still very supportive. You know, I felt totally fine taking these off the kickers, you know, and even not just tiny too, like you could go totally big without the tongue and feel really good. I think it's because the boot itself is pretty supportive. As you can see, like there's support built into the structure of it. And then the outer shell too also has structure too. Getting in the shells themselves, you know, I think they've held up really well. You know, you're not seeing like totally torn out like spine on the back. The gummy straps can wear out a little bit. I know, let's see if I can find a spot. Yeah, like right there. They do start to tear because you do kind of click into the same spots over and over, and you can adjust that a little bit. Like you could cut off a little bit and move it in, or you could get a new strap, so not a big worry there. And you can customize too, so I like customize mine just to dull them out a little bit with the 3 kind of khaki gray colors there. You know, the binding itself, yeah, I think it's held up really well. I am seeing a little bit of cracking along the footbed here, but I think that's just cosmetic. I'm not too worried about that. Yeah, great boot. You know, in terms of the mounting system, I did make a video about that, which I will also link in the description. I do think this system is a little over complex to figure out what your stance is. Like, it's very easy to be uncentered on the board or not understand your angles. But it does offer a lot of options. So ease of use, maybe not the best, but if you're looking for the most stance options, this mounting system is going to be really good for that. You know, I haven't lost any hardware on this as well. I do tend to check it at least once, probably every other time I go out. Crank it down with the number 3 Phillips there. But I do keep a set of hardware on me when I travel just in case, which I think is a good idea no matter what wakeboard binding you have. Getting into the liners. So I really love these liners. They fit really well. There's these J-bars in the back. Hopefully you could see. Awesome ankle hold. Very comfortable. They dry well. I will say I decided to ditch the shoelace that's in there, and I replaced it with a Ronix replacement lace lock. I like the Ronix lace locks. I think they work the best out of any company I've ever used. So if you do want to cinch, you can pick up a set of these. You actually get 4 of them. I think it's like 20 or 25 bucks. That was one mod I made to the boot. Otherwise, yeah, it fit really good. My one criticism of the boot is these guys right here. So these little mesh vents are made out of metal and they're riveted in from the other side. And they can often, especially if you don't have a sock on inside the boot, which a lot of people are not going to rock a sock inside this, I do usually, they can actually cut your foot. And I was feeling on landings off kickers, especially like these, something hit me in the side. Originally I thought it was the mounting hardware, but that didn't make any sense. But yeah, it's these guys, and I've started to do a little modification to them. So I'll cut to a video of that here in a moment. I kind of was just testing this out on one of them, but what I'm going to do is actually remove these because, yeah, it's my only real complaint about this boot is that these things stab you, especially on kicker landings. So yeah, don't try this at home. You do this at your own risk, etc., etc. But I'm just taking these wire cutter. Probably a needle nose plier would probably be good for this, but yeah, I'm just gonna pry these things out of here and hope that it holds up okay. So yeah, tore that guy out, left a little hole. I think that's gonna hold up pretty good though. And it's not gonna stab me, which is nice. So yeah, let's get this other one out. In there. Oh yeah. All right, there we go. So that's my only real complaint about this boot, is these things would just stab the inside of my foot unless you're wearing a thick pair of socks. But with that mod, I don't think it's gonna be a problem anymore. And I really don't think those meshes are needed. I mean, maybe if you're in like winching and like muddy crud a lot, but then you're just gonna get the mud into the other holes anyway. So let's get into it. Let's pull the final one. So I'm just gonna get this under there and applying some medium pressure and twisting a little bit, I can wiggle this thing out without tearing the liner up, and boom, got that thing out. So that's the last one of those. That was kind of something I just figured out the other day because I got that cut on my foot when I forgot my socks. So with that, you know, these liners are modified now, so I took out the vents, added on a cinch. Oh yeah, I will say I did get some wear up here on the liner. This kind of happened maybe the second time I was out I noticed this, but it did it a little bit and then it never got really any worse, so not a big deal, just a cosmetic thing. In terms of sizing too, I wanted to call out, so I got these, I don't know if you can read that, yeah, USA 9. You know, I'm typically in a 9 to 9.5 in most boots, I would say. You know, sneaker wise, Vans or Nike, I'd always be a 9.5 in that. I think my Mondo point scale is a 27.5 or 27.6. So I would say if you're between sizes, I would probably downsize in these. I wouldn't go up. I have rode a 10 that was a friend setup, and it did feel like I was swimming on it a little bit. So yeah, just wanted to cover size real quick because I figured that might be a question that pops up. I hope that review was useful. If you do have any questions about the Slingshot Space Mob boots, don't forget to comment below. Happy to answer any questions about my experience. Hoping I'll get at least this season and probably another season out of these, since I get to ride about 20 times a season. But overall, love the Space Mob. Boom. Yep. Go get a pair. You won't regret it. And maybe do those mods I was talking about. Peace.